Hey Scavers, this is Imp from Black Talon Gaming, and I want to welcome you to yet another video for Fallout 4. This time I'm going to be talking about settlement outposts in Fallout 4 and how you can construct these yourselves to give yourself a little bit of more, a little bit of survivability if you're playing on survival difficulty. Now, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying is that this is not a settlement review. What I'm going to do instead for reviewing specific settlements and specific settlement mods is I'm going to make a build for each one of those new settlement mods that comes out and feature each mod individually instead of one of my top 4 or top 5 guides. Rather, this video is going to take a look at 3 of the best settlement mods that I've come across for making little outposts and the slight differences between them. When I originally planned to do this video, I was thinking about doing... There were 2 mods on the Nexus that were incredibly similar, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now it was Red Rocket Safe Houses and Red Rocket Settlements. There are minor differences between them, and I'm going to go over those, but I'm going to show you a little bit of... because I use one in one playthrough and the other in another playthrough, and I really want to show you the differences and the fact that either one of those can still work. And then we're going to cover a 3rd mod. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to go ahead and show you on my first playthrough, which is my main Surviving the Wasteland playthrough. I use Red Rocket Safe Houses by Matt's a Human. That's the mod maker's name. So with that said, let's go ahead and go to one of my safe houses. Alright guys, so welcome to my South Boston, right out the gate of Diamond City safe house. And each one of these safe houses is placed at a Red Rocket center that you can find in game. And with Red Rocket safe houses, he does the original 11 red rockets that appear on the base map. He includes, I think it's 12 red rockets, but he also includes a 13th red rocket, which is out near Salem, right south of the Museum of Witchcraft. All right, so when we're talking about these and the differences between these 2 mods, the important thing to realize is that the game does not necessarily recognize, even though there is a workbench at the Safe Houses mod, the game does not recognize them as a settlement. So you cannot populate these guys, or populate these little fortresses with standard guys. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building little refuges, little places that you can go to catch up on some sleep, to safely get some food, water. Really the only resource that they can produce, and I'm not even entirely sure of this, but I think they can produce water. But once again, without settlers, you're not going to be able to grow food or anything like that. You're not going to have access to doctors or anything. So you're saying, okay, so if without settlers, like, really the only use for it is defense, and that's really true. Like, with this one, you can see I set up a little a straight line here of turret defenses in case I'm running from this direction, and I built this safe house specifically to be a fallback point when I first started exploring Diamond City on survival difficulty, because oftentimes I would run across like a tank bot or something ridiculous, or just something ridiculous, and I'd have to retreat back here and hope to God that these turrets would be able to help me enough to where I could stay alive. There was a couple times where like not even they were good enough to do the trick. But that being said, I have actually really outdone myself, or really kind of increased the capability of these settlements, because let's go ahead and open the gate here. You can see on the inside I've actually managed to create these little dogs and stuff like that. I created these dogs through the Better Stores mod, but I do believe that you can also, if you really wanted to, you could set up like a deer trap or a freaking Deathclaw trap or what have you, and spawn whatever creature you wanted at these safe houses. I think those don't really require settlers to work. But yeah, I mean, it works well with that, and these guys will actually come out and help me when I'm under attack. I use the mod where I have to take showers in order to keep clean and to increase my charisma, so There you go. I have a private shower here. I've got a water pump so I can refill my water bottles. I usually have, yeah, I've got a stove right over here or a cooking station right over here so that anything I do catch, I can go ahead and cook it up here. I keep a bureau full of alcohol, apparently. I usually have some other storage place around here where I keep food. Yeah, I keep a cabinet full of ribs, apparently, and blood bug meat. I keep a locker full of weapons. Yeah. And I keep some first aid right on the wall right there. So you can see it is very useful. Let's go ahead and check right now before we go on to the next mod. But let's just go ahead and check and see if the pump is actually producing water. Okay, so it does not appear to be producing water, so that is a slight drawback, but of course with a proper crafting mod you can use glass to make your own bottles and fill them up manually at the pumps. The pumps do work for drinking as well as fill stations. They're just not going to generate their own bottles, so I mean you're going to have to watch out for that. Overall, in terms of the usability of these safe houses, in this playthrough, I found them incredibly useful. They did exactly what I wanted them to do, which was help protect me when I needed a blockhouse, a place to retreat to. And it gives me a safe place to heal up and cook food and eat and get pretty and all that good jazz. I have the ability to spawn these dogs here. I think, I haven't tested it yet, but I think the Minutemen 2.0 mod, I might be able to create Minutemen to occupy these. And that would be really cool. That would be really cool, without a doubt. However, the one thing that I did kind of wish is that I kind of wished that, you know, and it's the reason that I was looking out for a Red Rocket settlement mod that actually made them into settlements, but I kind of wish that I could at least create one person who lived here that I could assign to a artillery battery. I might look at some other mods for doing that because I would love to use these. If I could assign like 2 or 3 guys plus a bunch of turrets here, and those 2 or 3 guys were only worried about defense and manning a artillery battery, like that would be perfect for me. That's exactly what I would need it for. Of course, I think there would be a little bit of a hiccup with that because once again, can't grow food, really can't, I guess, give them water. I'm not, you know, 100% sure on that, but I'm thinking that if the water doesn't show up in the container, then, well, it still says water 3, so I mean that's kind of interesting. I might have to check. Maybe these dogs are consuming water. I never thought about that. But yeah, I'll double check on that and I'll put it in the description if I can, if I find any information saying that these do produce water, whether or not the settlement is manned. Another drawback is because it is not a official settlement, you cannot assign logistics routes. You cannot connect these to your supply chain. So they do stand alone in that regard, and it does make it a little bit tedious. But I think that kind of goes with the playthrough that I have here for my Surviving the Wasteland playthrough, because I envision these various different counties as being semi-autonomous entities. Like the north is its own kingdom, and then the center is like these weird communists and stuff. Like, I don't know, I've got a whole backstory. You can watch Surviving the Wasteland and you can kind of piece it a bit, together a little by little. But yeah, so that is Red Rocket Safe Houses by Matt's a Human. Alright, so my second mod on the list is going to be Red Rocket Settlements by Tarsus31. Essentially, all of the weaknesses of the Red Rocket Safe Houses mod have been removed, and the Red Rocket Settlements are fully settable. You can recruit a whole crew of people here to live, work.
Been growing pretty good lately.
And the crops, they will grow pretty good. One of the interesting things is while, albeit not all of the Red Rockets are in urban areas, it seems like the first few ones that I've run across are in very urban areas. And as a result, you have to place these little planters down just so that you can grow crops like normal. It has been a little bit of a workaround. Like you'll notice here, I've got like a walled off section on this side. However, I have no wall on the opposite side, rather just guard posts and guard towers. What I plan, and this little island of machine guns right here. What I plan to do is, as I get more resources, I'm gonna just put about 6 machine guns up front here in this little island, and then 1 heavy machine gun under each tower right here. Just in case. I don't know if the mod author, Tarsus31, added in settlement raids to these areas, but you never know what's going to happen, because a lot of the times you'll be retreating. Or, yeah, that's something. You're a ghoul remarking on a farm run by ghouls. Okay, you're a ghoul farmer remarking on a farm run by ghouls. Whatever. Okay, I plan to put up here a little shack for me to sleep and command out of, as well as the once again, like going back to what I said in the previous mod, the one thing I would have really loved is being able to place artillery anywhere. So once I do complete the castle quest here, I'll be able to place artillery right here up on top of Red Rocket. In the meantime, though, I'll put a little command post or whatever. This will be a little fire base, and while none of the builds for these little ones will be as big as the one, Red Rocket near Sanctuary, I mean, they're pretty good. I think they do the trick and they look nice. When I find a decently sized one with a really nice surrounding area or whatever, I might do a build on that just to show you a fire base, a forward operating base. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Is everything about Red Rocket settlements, or excuse me, everything about Red Rocket's safe houses, Red Rocket settlements improves upon. There's really only one aspect of it that I think kind of got left in the wind, and that was that Red Rocket's safe houses added an extra site up near Salem. And so looking at the map of the potential Red Rocket settlements that are left in game with the new settlements mod, you can see that Salem in the northeast and stuff like that, it's kind of devoid of all that. But that is entirely all right. In all honesty, I'm not quite sure why you would use settlements as opposed to safe houses, because you can do everything in safe houses that you could do with settlements. The only thing that I can imagine is that if you don't want to have to micromanage settlers and you don't like the whole settlement building aspect, then yeah, like Red Rocket's safe houses is entirely the way to go, because you don't have to worry about any of that jazz, you know what I'm saying? Whereas with this, you could potentially fill them up with people, but that it's beyond me. Anyways, that's the second mod on the list, and now let's go ahead and take a look at the first. Alright guys, so for the last mod that I'm going to go ahead and cover for using to build outposts and new settlements in the game world, I'm going to be covering Chesko's Conquest mod. If you're at all familiar, Chesko is a really talented modder who's responsible for the Frostfall mod for Skyrim. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and look it up yourself. But let's go ahead and break down into his mod, Conquest, and what it does. Essentially with Conquest, you can build a campsite in any given location in the game world, whether it's on the Commonwealth, at Far Harbor, or Nuka World. You can build a location, and then you can further upgrade that campsite to a full-fledged working settlement that can even be linked to using provisioners and everything like that. So it's fully functional, and once you've linked it, you can do anything you could do in a regular settlement. When you place the Conquest settlements, you're going to have a lot of space to work with, and that's just once again, the settlement borders are automatically going to go to the furthest extent to whatever Chesko hard-coded them to be. However, you're going to be confined by whatever terrain you're working with. If you're placing it in an alley somewhere, of course, you're not going to be able to build as much as if you were going to place it on a wide open plain somewhere, maybe near Nuka World. The only real drawback to Conquest Settlement Conquest Settlement mod as opposed to either of the Red Rockets is that you only get 10 Conquest Settlements before you have no more. So you get to choose 10 of them, place them somewhere. Another kind of bad drawback is that in the game, the developers did not hardcode scrappability into every item. Most of the items that you'll see that are going to be scrappable with Conquest are going to be items that you could have picked up and carried, junk items, or items that you could have interacted with some other way. For example, cars that you can blow up will be scrappable. Containers such as cash registers and cabinets will be scrappable. But if you're just looking to be able to scrap trees and move around and clear the Commonwealth in search of tons of lumber, which is actually one of the things I tried to do. The earliest thing I tried to do with this mod, I was like, I can create 10 lumber camps and just rotate them around. No, that didn't work out. There are a few fixes to this. I've heard of one or two mods that adds a lot of scrappability to the world space. I've not checked those out, and I would advise caution when using them because anything that is modded poorly, it might affect your game and you might lose a valuable playthrough that you've been working on. I trust Chesko and his coding because he's been doing this for years, and everything he puts together is really well thought out and really well planned and really well executed. All right, that being said, the Conquest Settlement and either one of the Red Rocket Settlement mods, they are not mutually exclusive, so you can choose Conquest and then choose one of the Red Rocket mods and work with both of them, giving yourself something like 22, 23 extra settlements in the game world. However, both of the Red Rocket settlements are mutually exclusive. You cannot use both mods in the same playthrough. Safe Houses, of course, is designed, just as a wrap-up, Safe Houses is, of course, designed as a player home, maybe a fire base under like the most emergency type conditions, whereas Settlements seeks to give you a fully working player settlement in those locations. However, the big drawback, of course, with Settlements is that the location of the Red Rockets are not necessarily always the best, for farming or anything like that. So try either one of those out, and I think depending on what type of game you're playing, either one of those could be applicable. Do remember that Red Rocket Safe Houses does give you one extra safe house up in the northeast. Red Rocket Safe Houses, I think, is probably... Well, I don't know. I mean, Tarsus, the mod creator behind Settlements, seems to be learning a lot and doing a lot, so he might be more on par with updating because Settlements hasn't been updated since May. Anyhow, those are the three mods that I use for creating outposts in the game. Fallout 4, and they definitely serve to expand your gameplay and the game world. I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below. Please leave a like, and if you think I'm doing something cool here, go ahead and subscribe. I just want to remind y'all to have a happy and safe Halloween. I don't know. I think this will be... Yes, this will definitely be coming out the week after Halloween. So I hope your Halloween was happy and safe and you got tons of candy. And look at that ass. That is awesome. That is magnificent, bros. And that is why I do what I do. Anyhow, have a great day. And remember to stay awesome.